So now, in our today's class, we are going to study the last concept of the chapter. That is what effects of redox reaction in our everyday life. So now, first of all, so until last class we studied what do you mean by redox reactions. So what do you mean by redox reactions? Anybody? Yes, please.
Both oxidation and reduction takes place in single.
Oxidation and reduction.
In any reaction, both oxidation plus reduction is carried out. Then that reaction is called as redox reactions. Is it? So now, if it comes to here, so redox reaction means we can say both oxidation and as well as reduction. So it combinedly at a time it will take place in a single reactions. Then we used to say it is redox reaction. So now if it comes to here, then what is the real life like effects of redox reaction in our everyday life? So in our everyday life, knowingly or unknowingly, we can observe some kind of redox reactions. So that is what we are going to study in our today's class. So I think as you all already kept the heading, effects of redox reaction in everyday life. So many definitions I have given you for redox reaction. Is it yes or no? Oxidation plus reduction reaction. So all the definitions you have to learn according to the situation. You have to use the different definition for oxidation plus reduction. So effects of redox reactions in everyday life are also, we can say, this is all taking place by naturally. It's not done by us. So that is what we can say natural redox reaction. Okay, clear? So now if you notice it, these reactions which we are going to study in our today's class, they are very, very common reactions in our industries, in our daily activities, and as well as even our inside our body, like means a body of all the living organisms, these redox reactions will be carried out. So some redox reactions are very useful and some are very harmful also. So some are harmful in the sense that they won't kill us, but which is there is no use for us, then we can say it is harmful. So even people, if you notice it, our surroundings, even oftenly they will talk about these oxidants in the human body. So like you might be noticed if you are sick or if you're having some health issues and all, if you go even hospital, they'll say that regarding oxidants, like something they'll talk. So inside our body, if you notice it, human body, these oxidants are the chemical substances. If you notice it, oxidants. So they are the chemical substances which have adverse effect on the like we can say psychology, and they can damage the body tissue of oxidation. So this is not like I'm just saying for like how the redox reactions is carried out in our inside our human body also. So if you notice it, like you can take these oxidants also, which will help you to carry out the oxidation reaction. Sir, where is oxidation reaction is carried out inside our body? We'll study now. So in this section, like we will study 3 common redox reactions which will take place inside our body and as well as in our surroundings, like which is one of the oxidants which will help in our some of our metabolic activity in our daily life. So that is what you all people know about respiration. Have you heard about the respiration? Kindly respond.
Yes, sir.
Everybody. So we are very, very familiar with respiration. So what do you mean by respiration, guys? You can tell me.
It's a breakdown of food.
Yeah. So breakdown of food which is produced in the photosynthesis. So as we all studied, photosynthesis is a endothermic reaction. Is it yes or no?
Yes.
Photosynthesis is the endothermic reaction because it is taking place under the presence of light. So it is the endothermic reaction. So now if you notice it, we are not going to discuss anything regarding photosynthesis. So now we are going to study the first effects of redox reaction, which is carried out in our daily life, is respiration. So in biology also you all studied about respiration. So respiration means what? What do you mean by respiration, guys? So what are the food which we are eating? It will be with the presence of oxygen, understanding. So it will going to be release the energy for us. So that is what the reaction we used to call as respiration. Is it yes or no, guys? Yes. So every
Yes,
living
sir.
organisms, they will take the oxygen through the lungs. Understand? Or else if the lungs does not have, if you take fish and all, they will take through the skin, gills, or some animals they will take through the skin. So this is what we can say respiratory organs in different organisms. So these, with the help of these organisms, the organisms, they will take the oxygen inside the body, and this oxygen will utilize it for which reaction, guys? The oxygen will help for oxidation or reduction reaction. So the oxygen
Oxidation.
will take through the body parts like lungs or gills or skin, whatever it is, the respiratory organ. So now that oxygen only utilized for oxidation of glucose. So the food which we are eating, that is what? Glucose, which will be carried out in the cells. They will produce carbon dioxide and water, and as well as along with that, they will produce the heat also, plus energy will come. So during this oxidation of glucose, so glucose, why I'm saying means, so we are the food which we are eating from the plants and all, so it is producing what? Glucose only. Yes or no, guys? So that is what. So this glucose, the oxidation of glucose, and as well as heat energy is releasing. So which keeps the body of living organisms warm, and as well as that energy get utilized to perform the various activities. You understanding, everybody? So that is why if you notice it, so as we know, anybody can tell me the photosynthesis reaction, please. Photosynthesis reaction. 6CO2 plus
6CO2 plus
O
6H2O.
under the presence of
Sunlight, chlorophyll.
sunlight and chlorophyll, which will give you C6H12.
C6H12O6.
This is only we used to call as what we used to call as.
Glucose.
Now glucose plus 6O2 will come. So this is what called as. This is what we used to call as photosynthesis reaction. Now, this glucose only, which we are consuming as a food, is it yes or no? Please respond. So now this food only, so the food which we have eaten from the plants or whatever it is, which contains glucose. So now this glucose, we will take the oxygen from the atmosphere. How we will take the oxygen from the atmosphere? With the different respiratory organs. If suppose if you are a human being, we will take the oxygen through what, guys?
Lungs.
If the fishes, they will take to the gills. If it is some kind of frog or earthworm and all, they will take through the what? They will take through the skin. Is it yes or no? So that is what. So they will take the oxygen. Now, this oxygen, once the digestion process is taking place, then it will be reached to the cells, the human body cells. So now there, the respiration reaction will carried out, so that what will happen? They will release the carbon dioxide plus water plus energy will release.
Energy.
If you take, so around, just for example, I'm saying, if you take 1 mole of glucose, how many moles, Pradosh? If you take 1 mole of glucose, understand, then it will burns, and it will produce how much amount of energy?
676
kilocalories.
kilocalories.
Do you understand? Heat means what? It is in the form of energy. So that is what you have to remember. So this oxidation of glucose only, which will cause us to release the heat energy, which will keep our body warm, and as well as it will get utilized to perform the various activities in our daily life. So here I am saying 1 mole of glucose. So 1 mole of glucose means you all know that 1 mole of glucose means how many particles, guys? In class,
Avogadro constant.
1 mole of any substance, which is equals to how many particles? Which is equals to Avogadro's number. Understanding? Avogadro number, and Avogadro number means how much it is? 6.022
6.022 into 10 power 23.
23. Now we are taking here glucose, so that what will happen? Glucose molecules will come. Do you understanding, everybody? Or else we know that 1 mole means how much in pharma? Atom molar mass. Is it yes or no? 1 mole is equals to molar mass. So molar mass means what? Molecular mass in grams. Is it yes or no, guys? My friend, molecular mass we have to consider in grams. That is what we used to say 1 mole. So if we'll eat or if we'll take 1 mole of glucose, then it will react with oxygen and it will, how much energy it will produce, guys? 676 kilocalories of heat it will produce. So this is what the first reaction, which is effects of redox reactions. So here also you can see, guys, oxidation and reduction will take place. Is it yes or no? Both are taking place or not? So addition of oxygen and removal of removal of oxygen, both is taking place. So that is what we can say. So this is the redox reaction. So this is the first reaction which will carried out in our daily life. So that the effects of redox reactions we can say. Now this equation or this respiration one does not have much importance for us in our daily life, because it is a regular process which will carry out. So it is advantage or disadvantage for us? Advantage or disadvantage, guys? Respiration is advantage or disadvantage?
Advantage.
Advantage. So if there is no respiration, then what will happen? Then no organism can survive on this earth, because no food, no energy can be released from the food, so that it is not possible to continue the life on this earth. That is what we have to remember. So respiration is the redox reaction which is having advantage for the all the living organisms. Now, next to what we are going to study is not having advantage, both are disadvantage which we are observing in our daily life. So the second type of redox reaction, which is more important for our daily life, so that is what you might be already studied in your lower classes and all. That is only we used to call it as corrosion. Have you heard this word called as corrosion? Please respond.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So now this corrosion only taking place for iron, only for iron. Even for iron also we can call it as corrosion only. But iron is the most common metal which we used to notice in our surroundings. Only iron is getting corrosion, then that alone we used to call it as rusting. Have you remember? Corrosion of iron. Yes or no? So rusting
Yes,
of iron we can say. So this rusting only we used to call it as for iron alone. But remaining all the metals, what we used to call, guys? What we used to call?
Corrosion.
Corrosion only. Even for iron also we can call corrosion, but only for iron we can say it is rusting of iron. Okay. Now, sir, what do you mean by corrosion? Kindly understand everybody carefully. Very, very important and very, very like equations also must you have to practice it. Now, corrosion means, for example, you can see I have kept some metal on the atmosphere. For example, you might be seeing our surroundings also every day. So I have kept 1 kg iron. What I kept? 1 kg iron I kept here. Now, once it will start reacting with oxygen from the atmosphere and as well as what moisture from the atmosphere, then it will start forming into new substances. That is what we used to say iron oxide. It will form what, guys? It will form iron oxide.
Iron oxide.
Iron oxide, new substance is forming, so that it is a chemical change or physical change. Anybody?
Chemical change.
Chemical change.
It is the chemical change. Do you understand? Chemical reaction is carried out. So You tell me if this process only we used to call it as corrosion. Now, if the corrosion will takes place, the strength of the iron or the iron will become weaker or not? Anybody?
Yes, sir.
Become weaker or not?
Yes, sir.
Respond me. Yes or no? So even your bicycle,
sir.
some parts will get corroded or corrosion will take place. Yes or no? So that is what the slow destruction or heating up of metals by the reaction of some atmospheric gases. So when you expose to the atmosphere, when you expose to the atmosphere, so due to the atmosphere, so due to the atmospheric gases, means the gases which are present in the atmosphere, they will start reacting with these metals and they will slowly will spoil, means they will lose its properties. So that process only, what we used to call, guys? What we used to call? Corrosion we used to say. Okay. So now, so first of all of you write very, very important definition of corrosion. Write it. The slow destruction or eating up of metals, by the reaction of some atmospheric gases. Some atmospheric gases. So what is that atmospheric gases? Anybody can tell me? Atmospheric gas
Oxygen.
like oxygen, carbon dioxide. Do you understand? Next, water vapor. Water vapor also we can call it as what? Anybody? We can say moisture. Understand? Very good. Moisture. And even we can take sulfur. Okay. Sorry, sulfur dioxide. It is acid rains. Sulfur dioxide with metals. Is called, what used to call, guys? Is called corrosion. That's all.
Corrosion.
Okay. Now, so we are having different, as I told you, for any metal will spoil because of when it is exposed to the atmosphere, that everything we used to call it as corrosion. But if we take the most common metal which we are seeing in our surroundings, what is that, guys? Most common metal? Iron. Yes or no? So the corrosion of iron also we can call it as what, guys? The corrosion of iron also we can call it as what we used to call? Rusting of iron. Understand? Other metals we won't call. All other metals we used to call it as corrosion only. So corrosion of iron alone we used to call it as rusting. So now you all know that when iron pieces or iron articles or any kind of body which is made up of iron, which is exposed to the moisture air. Do you understand? You might be see in front of your home, your gate, your compound wall gate, or even doors, iron doors, or your bathroom doors and all. It has been corroded. Have you noticed it, guys? Please respond. Have you seen it or not?
Yes, sir.
That is.
Yes,
So
sir.
now, when these iron articles or iron pieces is exposed to the moist air. So what do you mean by moist air? Anybody? Moist air. Anyone?
Water vapor.
Water vapor.
Moist air means which contains water vapor. So if there is no moist air, then what we used to call it as no water vapor, then that is called as dry air. What we used to call? Dry air. So now, is it for corrosion we need dry air or moist air, guys? Moist air. Moist air. Understanding? Moist air. Then they will get coated with a brown color, which is called as rust. Do you understanding? So which is exposed to the moist air, then you can notice it. So slowly the reaction will carry out. It is not by one day. It will be slow reaction. So brown color coating will be forming. So this brown color substance only we used to call it as, what we used to call, guys? Rust. R-U-S-T, rust. Do you understanding? So now this chemically rust is a new chemical substance. That is what one of the hydrated salt. As I told you, hydrated. What do you mean by hydrated, guys? Hydrated means what? Which contains
Water content.
yeah, water. So now that is what you can say. So because of this corrosion, lakhs of tons of iron gets destroyed every year across the world because of this corrosion. So we are hundreds, like millions of kg of iron is going to destroy because of this corrosion process. So that is why it is advantage or disadvantage for us, guys. It is the
Disadvantage.
Disadvantage.
if we take iron, so iron, what is the symbol, Ra? Sai. Iron symbol is what? Fe. Understanding? So now, iron, if it is exposed to the atmosphere, then it will react with the two atmospheric gases. What is that atmospheric gases? Oxygen as well as next one is water. Do you understanding, everybody? Water vapor it is. So which is both together we can say it is both we is to called as what? Together we is to called as moist air. What we is to call, guys? Moist air. Understanding? No. But you have noticed it? Is it the water vapor is same across the earth? Is it varies or across the earth? Is it same or varies across the earth? That is what my question. Anybody? Ajit Durga?
Varies.
It will vary.
Varies.
So it is not constant. Suppose if you go seashore areas or beach areas and all, water moisture is more. If you go to the dry areas like Rajasthan and all, understanding the water content in the atmosphere is very, very less. So that is why we will take always. So the amount of water is keep on varies in the atmosphere. So that is the reason always we will take